As early as now, I'd like to apologize for the nature sounds and vehicle sounds that you'll be hearing throughout this video. Thank you for your understanding. Hello weekend warriors! Welcome to my first ever video! Yay! You might be wondering why I look like this. Well, it's the weekend and even teachers like me deserve to kick back, have a couple of days rest, and just hang out with you guys. That's why I'm in my robe right now and I have a moisturizing mask on. I'm here to relax, so I hope you can join me for the next few minutes and learn something new while we take it easy for the weekend. In just a little bit, I will show you one simple trick. In just a little bit, I will show you one simple trick that will help level up your English skills. But before that, let's talk about how important it is to speak English well. Let's take a look at the scene, which was taken from a popular miniseries. Pay close attention to the dialogue between the American judge and the Asian man.
Jeff Dahmer knew my son was a child. When he met my son, he asked him what grade in school he was in. If my son was not so healthy and athletic, the drug that this man gave my son could have killed him.
Mr. Sinfanciful, I'm sorry, it's just, I am having trouble understanding you. Could one of your children maybe help us out here?
Have you seen this series? It was a really disturbing story, but very well told. If you listened closely to the conversation between the two men, you would have noticed that the Asian man actually had solid English. He used his vocabulary well, his grammar was on point, and he just generally nailed it. However, the judge could not understand him. Every word he spoke was so unfamiliar to the judge's ears, mostly because of his heavy accent. Does this sound familiar to you? Have you ever experienced something like it? Have you ever talked to a native English speaker or a person from an English-speaking country and you knew very well that you used the right words and that your grammar structures were correct, but they still could not understand what you said? Leave me a comment down below. Unfortunately, many native English speakers have no exposure to other languages and accents that are different from theirs. Their ears are not trained to hear English words the way people with heavy local accents say them. It's actually quite similar to us Filipinos, but in the opposite way. We understand English perfectly the way Filipinos speak it, but some of us would use English subtitles on English movies so we could easily follow what was being said because we're just not used to hearing the English language in American or British accents. But of course, there's nothing wrong with that. So what do we need to do? How can foreigners understand us better? That's what we will try to learn today. I will introduce to you a super easy method to improve the way you speak. So the next time you talk to a native English speaker, they'd know what you're trying to say. Let's do a short activity and see how well we know the basics of English pronunciation. I will flash some letters on the screen and I'd like you to make the basic sounds that each letter makes in English. Do not say the name of each letter. That's not what I'm asking you to do. I want you to make the basic sound that each letter makes when you read them in English. Are you ready? Here we go. I'm willing to bet that at least half of you said a, e, I, o, u. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but this is incorrect. Don't feel bad though. A lot of us were taught in school that Filipino and English alphabet sounds are exactly the same. But the thing is, they're not. Now let's see how each vowel letter actually sounds in English. Let's do another rundown of each letter and make the correct basic sounds in English together. Pay special close attention to the shape of my mouth. You can pause this video, grab a small mirror so you can compare the shape of your mouth with mine. Let's start with the first vowel letter, which is this one. In Filipino, the sound of this letter is a. The mouth is not too wide on the sides, but the lips are far apart from each other. A. In English, though, we pronounce it differently. We widen our mouth at the sides, and our lips are a bit closer to each other. A. Compare it to the Filipino sound, a. Make the sound together with me. A. A. Now let's use this sound in some words. Sam, Sam. Not some, Sam. Samantha's nickname is Sam. Sam. Next, stamp, stamp. Not stomp, stamp. He has a huge stamp collection. Stamp. Distract, not destruct. Do not confuse these two words because they are different. The word destruct means to deliberately cause irreparable damage, while distract is to divert someone's attention away from what they were focusing on before. Let's use distract in a sentence. Their chatter in the cinema continues to distract me from the movie. Distract. Now let's move on to the next vowel letter. Eh. Eh. This one has the exact same sound as its Filipino counterpart. Eh. Let's use it in words. Benevolent. Benevolent. Our company president is not as benevolent as we hoped he would be. Benevolent. Chemistry. Chemistry. Chemistry is my least favorite subject in school. Chemistry. Destruct. Now we talked about this earlier. This is the other word. Destruct. Be careful not to push the destruct button. Destruct. Now this next one is a bit tough. In Filipino, the sound that we make for this letter is E. E. If you see here, my mouth is wider on the sides, much wider, and there's very little space between my lips. I look like I'm smiling. E. In English, however, the shape of your mouth is so different and the sound that you make is different as well. Eh. Eh. As you can see, the corners of my mouth drop toward my chin. Eh. Eh. Instead of pointing toward my ears. The sides drop downward. Eh. Eh. The sound also comes from your belly. You should feel it coming from your stomach. Eh. Eh. Now let's use it in some words. Did. Did. Not did. Did. I did not take the car to work today. Did. Will. Will. Not will. Will. Will you marry me? Will. Isn't. Isn't. Not isn't. Isn't. Look at this stuff. Isn't it neat? Wouldn't you think my collection's complete? Next we have the letter O. In Filipino, we say O, O. Our lips make a small circle. The mouth is very narrow on the sides and the lips are quite close to each other. But in English, we say ah, ah. Now the mouth is still narrow on the sides, but the lips are farther apart from each other. Ah, ah. Now let's use it in some words. Collect, collect, not collect, collect. He collects stamps. Collect. Fog, fog, not fog, not as in what the fog. The fog is thicker in the mountains of Sagada. Fog. Soft, soft, not soft, soft. The fabric feels so soft. And finally, another hard one, the letter U. In Filipino, we say U, right? It's almost like the letter O sound, but the space in our mouth is much smaller. We pucker our lips as if we are about to give someone a kiss. U. But in English, our lips are a tad wider on the sides. And again, like with the letter I sound, the corners drop slightly downward. Not oo, it's Look at the shape of my mouth. It's so different. This is a deep sound, more like a grunt, which also comes from the gut, just like the letter I. Come on, let's go. Let's do it again. This is a deep sound, more like a grunt, which also comes from the gut, just like the letter I. You can feel it from your gut. Now let's look at some examples. Bucks, bucks, not box, as in cajon. Bucks is a word used in place of US dollars, as in, my grandma gave me $100 for Christmas. Bucks. Flush, flush, not flash. Flush. Did you flush the toilet? Flush. Chupa chups, not chups. Ang sagwa. I love chupa chups, lollipops. Now just imagine saying that the other way. So that's it. Congratulations, you've finished this lesson and you have just learned how to pronounce your English words better. How did you do? Was it too difficult for you? Feel free to chime in on the comments below. It might be a hard start for you, but if you make a habit of regularly practicing making these mouth shapes and sounds for a few minutes each day, you'll get the hang of it in no time. Use these sounds in words and sentences too. That's very important. Don't you practice many times to get better at dancing and singing? We do the exact same thing with English pronunciations. The more you do it, the more you get used to it, and the better you get at it. So make it a habit to practice every day. Get into the English o'clock habit. Choose a convenient time for you when you can practice for a few minutes each day and stick with it. Make that your English o'clock habit. So that's it for this video. I hope you learned a few new things today. Take it easy and I'll see you again on the next one. Check you later. Bye.